I want to ask you guys your opinion on this because Bernie Sanders, he had enough.
God.
He had enough of the anti-war movement. He had enough of you guys advocating for peace. What you guys want? We trying to fight for canceling student loans. Who cares their nuclear war, right? I want to give you guys general opinion on what I call the NATO left. Because
fuck the NATO left. That's my opinion, Nick. Fuck the NATO left. That's my opinion.
So, and that's the point I was making earlier. And if you one of the people that's so afraid of your neighbors that you see one disagreement, you don't want to work with someone, fine. You do you, boo-boo. To me, the biggest disagreement that I could possibly find is on war and on policing. You guys work with pro-war Democrats. You guys work with fascist, pro-police Democrats. And then you guys are like, oh my God, you guys disagree on some social issues. So you guys can't organize for war. Why is Ro Khanna allowed to be friends with Bill Kristol, but we can't organize with people for anti-war efforts?
Exactly.
Ridiculous. Misty, what's your thought on NATO left?
Well, I've been ranting about this for fucking ages. It's so stupid. These people are like infantile. It is astonishing to me that grown ass adults have this kind of mentality. And people will be like, oh, well, how come you always tear liberals down and you wouldn't work with liberals? Yes, I would. I would absolutely work with liberals if they agreed with me on literally anything. They don't. They're pro-war. They're pro-cops. They're anti-Assange. They're anti-free speech. They're pro-censorship. There's not much that I agree with liberals on. But if there were something, like if some liberals wanted to show up to it,
we marched with Biden voters for Medicare for all. There was people, 100% of people who at the March for Medicare for all, they voted for Biden. And and once again, this is my personal opinion, no judgment. Well, kind of, but my personal opinion is I think you vote for Joe Biden and you knew what he did. That's kind of disgusting.
Yes.
But I will put that aside if we march for healthcare. You guys see how that's consistent?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't care if you voted for Joe Biden. I question a lot of things about you. But if you show up to a Julian Assange rally, welcome. I have no issue with you on this issue. Like, if we can find common ground, I'm all for that every single time. Because here's the thing. I'm selfish and I want to get shit done. And the way you get shit done is by working together with people who also care about that thing. And I don't care, like, if you disagree with me on abortion or if you disagree with me on gay rights or if you do, okay, that sucks. And we're going to have conversations about that. But if you're for freeing Julian Assange, or if you're anti-NATO, if you're against war, then let's work together on those things, because those things are super duper important to me. So I'll do whatever it takes. I don't care. And people get mad at me and they think that that's unreasonable. But, you know, again, I'll say it again. I think that these people are genuinely not at all concerned about actually getting anything done. I think that they just want to be able to sit in their safe space and feel smugly superior. Yeah. They like that it's a little tiny club. They don't want anybody else in their little tiny club. They think it makes them cool. They very much enjoy their echo chamber. And they're not concerned. They have no sense of urgency. They're not concerned about the things that we're trying to get accomplished. Because if they actually cared about freeing Palestine, or if they actually cared about, you know, ending war, if they actually, I mean, listen, a lot of right wingers are anti-war. I am not going to shun them on being anti-war and working together on that issue because we disagree on some other things. Like Fiorella said earlier, their little checklist. Like, I'm not going to walk around a protest with a checklist. And if you're guilty of wrongthink, then say you can't be here and kick you out. Like, that's insane. It's completely counterproductive. It's shooting yourself in your foot. And it's really childish. It is incredibly childish to have that kind of mentality. I'm not saying you have to be best buds with these people. I'm not saying you have to go out to dinner with them. You don't have to have play dates with their kids. But if somebody is, on the same board as you, on the same wavelength as you on an issue that you care about, then you should be willing to put some shit aside and get some shit done. I mean, I don't know why that's controversial.
Breaking news: Misty endorses the Red Brown Alliance on RBN.
I'm like the leader.
Red and round.
Are you kidding? I'm the leader of the Red Brown Alliance.
Apparently, if you're okay with working with your neighbors to achieve a common goal, if you got disagreements, you're apparently part of the Red Brown Alliance.
Well, that's just really quickly. Can I just say that these people? It's like they think that anybody to the right of Bernie Sanders is a literal Nazi, and
it's
that's
just
fascist. Not the case. It's just
while supporting Nazis.
Yes, while supporting actual Nazis, literal black sun wearing Nazis, sending the money and weapons.
That's my favorite thing ever.
But Jesus, Like, there's a whole lot of people in between Bernie Sanders and actual Nazis. And a lot of those people agree with us on a lot of things. A lot of things. I'm not going to turn my nose up at them and treat them as if they're less than because they disagree with me on some things. That's stupid.
And first of all, though, like there's way more Republicans now that are anti this war and are anti-nuclear war and are anti-sending money to literal paramilitary gun-toting Nazis than there are leftists. I mean, this isn't something I want to tell the people who hate the LaRouche folks. Yeah. Why aren't you out there doing what they're doing? Why do they have to? If you don't like their politics so much, why is it up to them then to do it? Where the hell is everybody else? Where's the anti-war movement? It's completely useless. And I go back to the fact that in Latin America, these people who are, shouting, "Yay, Lula!" You wouldn't like Lula. You wouldn't like him if he was here. He's anti-abortion. He's not there on the marijuana laws. He's got a lot of other things. Socially conservatives, just like him, Petro is in some ways, he's a little bit more left on the drug issue because it's ruined his country. But then you go to every other country in South America, they are a lot more conservative socially. They have a lot of religious Christian faith. So they wouldn't like any of these people. And like in Nicaragua, these people are they're Marxist and they believe in socialism and they do everything economically. But when it comes to social issues on abortion, I spoke to them. They're like, no.
Or gay marriage, like or
so you would consider them right wingers, like if they were in the United States. So it's ridiculous that these people make these parameters, and it's very actually pro-Western, and it's very much American exceptionalist of them because they think that only the American liberal Western way is the way, and that way, because of how they've been, is being completely just a lot of people it's pushing people away. There's a lot of dissent in Europe. There's a lot of dissent here in Moscow. People are the same. They're more socially conservative. And you'll find communists here who are the same, socially conservative. And then you'll find, the liberals are the ones that are like the Alex Navalny, and they're trying to westernize Russia. And that's being rejected. So what's happened is a lot of the people, some of the views that I agree with, I'm pro-choice, I'm pro the legalization of drugs. Some of those views have been so like just associated with this like neoliberal regime changing politics that it's pushing people away and people are rejecting it more. So it's just having the opposite effect, and more people are being pushed to more conservative values. And who's doing is that? It's their doing. And I think that's, there's a certain design element to that. And you have to understand not everybody is going to fit your little box of being pro LGBTQ, pro choice, pro this, pro that is going to be there. And if they're not that, then that means they're not a real socialist. That's your idea of what it is to be a socialist. But everywhere else, there's different ideas. And I just think like, yelling at us or calling us fascists for trying to work with like a Republican who's anti-war is the stupidest thing. None of this matters if we get blown up to bits tomorrow because of some psychopaths who are running the show.
Well said. Well, I always want to remind people on this topic, I love the point that you made, Misty, that because if these people will vote for Jim Crow Joe, but then they still anyone who vote Republican is like immediately a fascist, right? And one thing, the same way I think voting for Jim Crow Joe is pretty disgusting. I think voting Republican is disgusting. But there's levels to this. Do you guys know? And this is why I don't demonize my neighbors. And you will never know this if you listen to the rhetoric of the NATO left, the left that want to divide the working class, where they pretend all Republican voters are Nazis. The Republican voters are literally to the left of Joe Biden on issues like healthcare and criminal justice. Literally, like
Assange.
Yeah, Julian Assange. We can go down the whole list.
Yeah.